Alright, so today I'm back with yet another chapter review, and today we will go over chapter 297, which goes pretty wild as we will see the 3rd and 4th salary rankings, not to mention another goal in the Munchen City versus FC BARCHA match, but I don't want to say anymore, so you will just have to sit back and watch to find out what happens. Anyway, please leave a like and a comment, as well as join the Discord server. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get into it. So to begin chapter 297, also called To the Future, we start off with seeing Nagi. He has REO in front of him and thinks that even though Nagi has lost his fire, REO is still ready to give someone like him a new dream. We then see REO just aura farming with him, spinning the ball on his finger, and telling Nagi for them to go out there and get the 2 remaining points, and calls Nagi a prodigy, which is always just nice when they call each other nicknames. REO then starts getting a big smirk on himself as he says that they are the heroes. We then get to Nagi, who looks a bit lost to be honest, but he thinks that until recently, REO would freak out when things got bad, and without Nagi by his side, REO couldn't do anything, and this makes Nagi wonder when REO became so goddamn cool. Nagi, still looking absolutely miserable, tells REO that he is on board with the plan and calls him boss. This makes REO very happy as he even gets his tongue out, typical Blue Lock behavior. Nagi then continues his little inner monologue and thinks that even though REO is still a bit scared, he still gets it and understand him. His eyes start to light up a bit as he says that he will fire REO up, and for himself to do that, he has to get himself fired up as well. We then get over to Isagi, who looks at his hand in total disbelief. Even Igarashi is side-eyeing him a bit and wondering what's wrong with him. However, Isagi just thinks that even this ecstatic experience might have its own formula, saying that when he thinks back, he had to clear objectives like someone he wanted to beat or something he wanted to surpass, and then he found it within himself. The logic to make it come true, thinking that finally, he had become a machine built to carry that out. He then clenches his fist together and celebrates, and thinks that to win, according to his calculations, that's what excites him. But then something clicks for him as he looks shocked and tells himself to wait and thinks that now that he's done that repeatedly and leveled up, he finally understands something crucial, which is that whenever he wins or produces results, his experience and abilities increase, but in turn he gets better at soccer and his skills become more reproducible, but still somehow he seems unable to create that fire in himself. We then see Isagi looking totally locked in as he has entered his metavision dimension state. He thinks back to some of his earlier moments and thinks that back then, what he felt was exclusive to him in that moment, saying that technique and logic are only methods to make this stuff come true, and all of it starts with the fire that he feels inside himself. However, Ego then interrupts Isagi in his thoughts as his bowl cut gets on the screen and announces that he will now proceed with the rest of the rankings in the salary auction, where we see that the 3rd place has gotten towards Shidu, who's gotten a 160 million yen offer from PXG. Meanwhile, Baru falls down to the 4th spot with a 150 million offer from Ubers, which is just wild, but I will talk about it towards the end. Anyway, we are then back to Isagi's thoughts as he thinks that dreams, objectives, and rivals to defeat are the ones who seize and use that fire to survive, and the ones who misjudge it fall by the wayside, saying that this is their battlefield and that this is Blue Lock. And I just love when characters reference the name of the manga in the series, if that makes sense. Also, we can't forget to clown Kaiser a bit, who's still like 3 whole chapters later sitting on the field and just being mad and frustrated. After that, we leave the bastard Munchen players and get to the restart of the Man City match where Nagi passes REO. Nagi thinks that if they score another point, then it's all over and that they need 2 goals more. He looks over to REO and wonders where REO would like to pass the ball to, and it's like they are sharing the same brain as Nagi gets right to the spot REO wanted him to and passes him. Nagi makes yet another savage trap that flies over the FC BARCHA players' heads as he thinks to himself that he wants to become the Nagi that REO wants him to be. With the ball over his head, he just says REO's name over and over again, which sure is totally normal. He then actually does a cold header as he jumps up and meets with the ball. With Nagi breaking through them, he wonders what he should do and if he should shoot the ball. However, he looks towards the goal and thinks that he's a little bit too far away from it. He tries to look over to REO and wonders what REO would do right here. However, to his surprise, he doesn't spot REO. Hey, it's Natsu mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you're already down there, why not leave a like as well? But instead Lavinho, who is right by his side with an insane aura around himself as he gets to Nagi and steals the ball. Lavinho looks intensely towards Nagi and tells him that soccer isn't a passing sport. REO looks over and can't believe his eyes. Meanwhile, Nagi realizes the trouble that they are in, and that if Lavinho steals it, then they are done for. But luckily, the goat Chris Prince sweeps in and steals it back from Lavinho. Meanwhile, he screams to the future. He gets a smirk on himself as he tells his team that they are not done yet. Lavinho looks furious as he looks back at Chris and calls him a show-off. Meanwhile, Nagi on the side just calls him master. Chris then looks intense as he says, "Okay, striker," and then dribbles past Lavinho. But to Nagi's surprise, he wasn't talking to Nagi as he completely ignored him, which left Nagi stunned. We then get back to Chris, as he says that he won't give a future to egoists who don't chase their ideals, and he then tells the blue lockers to transcend reality as he sends away the ball flying towards the penalty area. REO looks at the incoming ball in total disbelief as he doesn't know what is happening and just says Chris's name. Chris then awakens some sort of inner demon as he screams, telling REO to score and that Chris wants to see his future. Chris's words make REO's eyes light up and they start to glow from pure determination and excitement. After that, REO hits Otoya with the same move that he used on Chris Prince in the last chapter and gets behind him easily, also leaving Otoya quite impressed with his abilities. However, if you thought that we were done here, then you would be so wrong, as REO doesn't only copy Otoya's sneak behind move, but he also copies Otoya's shot from the last chapter, so he jumps up towards the sky, and this makes Nagi's eyes widen, as he now understands that REO can already really live on his own. Anyway, REO gets his whole chameleon out, and this just looks so awesome as he shoots the ball. And come on now, there's no way that the GOAT REO would miss, so he scores with ease and makes the scores even. He then coldly lands down on the ground, and I know that I'm glazing REO like crazy right now, but he looks so cool. We then see Chris Prince, who is ecstatic and fist bumps the sky and tells REO that this is it, and copies Lavinho's saying and calls this a golazo. We then see Lavinho scratching his head and looking frustrated as he says that their time is up. We then see REO breathing heavily, and it looks like he was possessed, but he then gets back to his regular self, and in an instant, he turns around towards Nagi and apologizes because he shot on his own, which is just wild that he feels the need to apologize for that. But as REO looks absolutely destroyed, Nagi tells him that it's okay. He says that it's good, and that if REO gets fired up, then that's his answer. REO is just confused to the max and doesn't understand what Nagi is on about, but Nagi then tells him that he thinks that he has been too reliant on REO, and that just as a kid, he believed that REO would always be there for him, but now, he will show REO that he can get fired up on his own. He then looks super fired up as his eyes are literally burning, and he apologizes to REO for being such a pain, and looking at REO's face, he kind of looks sad and almost destroyed by hearing this. Anyway, some good news, which is that there's no break next week, and also the next chapter, which hopefully won't be as long as this one, will be called Alone Together, and it will be a 24-page chapter, which means that it will probably be the last of this game. As often when we have big chapters, they often contain some insane goal, so I would be surprised if there are no goals. Anyway, with that said, let's go over this chapter. Now the first thing which I would like to go over is the offers. I talked about it briefly in my leak video and got a mix of response, but I really don't think that Shidu should have a higher offer than the King Baru. I'm not gonna lie, but I have kind of forgot what they base the offers on, so I might just be delusional right now. Anyway, I remember that one thing which the offers was based on was the goals. Now if I'm not mistaken, then Baru have scored the most goals in the entire league, and it's not like his goals has been bad either, as most of them that we have seen has been mind-blowing and insane. And thanks to Kunigami, the only thing that Shidu managed to contribute in this match was his header goal, which wasn't even better than the goals Baru scored against bastard Munchen. Anyway, that's just my take on it. Maybe some of you remembers what the offers was based on better and could let me know down in the comments. Secondly, I want to talk about how much of an GOAT Chris Prince is, and he really knows his team. His decision to focus on REO and not Nagi was perfect, as passing the ball to Nagi right there would have amounted to nothing, and he really needed to see REO score for him to wake up. Now when talking about REO's goal, I just have to mention how insane it looked. He really copied the hell out of Otoya as he first copied his sneak behind attack and then his entire shot. But of course the GOAT REO did it so much cooler with his chameleon being by his side. I just wish that this side of REO could be seen much more often and that he would stop caring about Nagi all of the time, because this guy right here really has the potential to be absolutely crazy with his broken ability. He could easily be top 5 strikers in Blue Lock, and honestly, he could dominate. He would not only be a striker, but the best overall player as he can copy everyone. Strikers, midfielders, and defenders like REO would be absolutely broken if he didn't have to babysit Nagi the entire matches. Then the last part where he legit apologized to Nagi for scoring a goal, and that he didn't pass to Nagi was just so silly, like come on now. Anyway, I wanted to start a segment where I try to speculate what happens in the next chapter, so that's what I will do now. This time it will probably be a bit short, as this is the first time. In the next chapter, I feel like a goal is bound to happen. Now, in my opinion, it will be scored by Munchen City, and I do believe that the goal scorer will be NAGI, which to be honest, I'm not that pleased with. And I would rather they wait with his awakening until the Under-20 World Cup, but all of the signs points to him scoring the next goal. Now, I do believe that it will be a total world-class goal, but at the same time, I don't think there's a single way that it can measure up to his goal against bastard Munchen, as that goal was just insane. I think that the entire chapter will be based on the goal, unfortunately, so no further salary rankings if you ask me, as I think that it will happen in the chapter after it. However, please let me know in the comments what you think. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.